I've recently been thinking about the differences between the way I make my caramels and the way they might be mass produced in a factory. I'm not really sure how they go about it in a factory, but for me, the process begins with the gathering of the tools I need: a pot, a spatula, a thermometer, a brownie pan, a cooling rack, a cutting board, a big-ass knife, some wax paper, and a pair of scissors. The next step is to get the ingredients together. Looking on the back of a bag of Kraft traditional caramels, I find the following ingredient list: corn syrup, sugar, skim milk, palm oil, whey from milk, salt, artificial flavor, soy lecithin. So my recipe only shares two ingredients in common, sort of, sugar and milk, and I kind of know what all the other stuff is, except for the soy lecithin. In any case, the ingredients that I use are sugar, milk, cream, simple syrup, butter, brown sugar, and vanilla. Once I've got all the ingredients, I throw everything into a pot except the vanilla and start cooking. For caramels, you cook the candy to what's called the firm ball stage, which is a temperature between 244 and 248 degrees. To prevent the sugars from crystallizing, which will mess up the taste of the caramel, it's crucial that you slowly heat the candy to the proper temperature and that you stir it constantly. Generally, this takes about 45 minutes. So, while I am doing that, let me share with you what I found out when I investigated what soy lecithin actually is. Basically, it's an edible glue made out of soybeans that helps foods that were not meant to stick together bind with one another. This decreases expense in the manufacturing process and helps foods last longer on a shelf. Soy lecithin is a byproduct created when soy oil goes through a degumming process. To extract oil from the beans, they are soaked in hexane to soften them up so they can be ground up and eventually processed. In case you didn't know, hexanes are also significant components of gasoline, shoe and leather glue, industrial cleaning and degreasing materials, and roofing supplies. So, the use of such a scary-sounding chemical led me to wonder what the impact on health and nutrition might be for soy lecithin. The FDA gave the soy industry a big thumbs up in 1999 when it suggested soy may reduce the risk of heart disease. Looking through other research, I found a lot of statements like may reduce cholesterol or could be beneficial in the prevention of cancer, but nothing definitive is ever mentioned. And it turns out that all of the research that has been conducted has been on raw soy elements and none, literally none, done on food products. In the hopes of finding some specific nutritional info about soy, I went to the website for the National Soybean Research Laboratory located on the campus of the University of Illinois. On their soy benefits page, under the nutritional section, amidst a few unfortunate spelling and grammatical errors, I located the following two nutritional factoids. Soy protein is half the cost per pound of meat. It can also make bread appear whiter. I was unable to puzzle out the actual nutritional value of spending less money, nor was I able to locate the recommended daily allowance for whiteness. The wrapping of the candies is actually the most labor-intensive part of the process. It involves a slow and tedious cutting up of wax paper into small pieces and then wrapping each piece of candy. For me, it often serves as a time for reflection on a number of different things. I don't really remember why I started making candy, but I keep doing it for a number of reasons. I really enjoy the process of it as I get to pretend I'm like some kind of mad scientist alchemist. I also enjoy the look on people's faces when they try one of my caramels or hard candies. And secretly, I'm hoping that my skills as a candy maker might find some use in case of a global economic breakdown or some other kind of apocalypse that might somehow leave the world bereft of the simple joy of tasting something sweet. But I think I derive the most pleasure from just knowing that I made this thing. And I made it without relying on any shortcuts nor compromising quality for the sake of saving a few pennies. It really makes me wonder what the world would be like if everything that was made followed the same simple guidelines. How different would it be? I suppose it's hard to say.